Hello, welcome 3 minutes late to today's Ask Me Anything session. I'm Justin, one of the co-founders here at SiteSwan, and I'm very excited to have you all here today. I would like you all to take a quick moment, and for those of you who have waited the 3 minutes, go into the questions icon, bottom right. It's got a question mark inside of a circle. Click that. Say hello. Tell me where you're from, and I want you to share one win. We always start these off. To everyone who's new, I see a lot of new names here. We always start these off with a win. I want to hear one good thing that's happened to you in your web design business since the last time we did one of these, or since this is your first time. I would like to hear any sort of win that you have. It could be that you started the launch plan. It could be that you watched a couple of training videos. It could be that you got a lead, got a sale, got a deal, got a commitment. I want to hear it, whatever it is, in the questions tab. And for everyone who is nice enough to submit their questions ahead of time, I have them all here and I'm going to be going through them. Um, but I first want to hear from you guys what has been happening over the last couple of weeks since we were all together. So, going down from the top, we have Mike, who hey, Mike, sold a mobile IV hydration company in Palm Beach County that's far away from you. They have another 6 or 7 sites for me to build. I also got another warm lead who found my dedicated silo page for her industry using ChatGPT, second one this week. That's a really cool news to hear. So, first of all, guys, there is, in fact, a mobile IV hydration theme that we have. We have mobile phlebotomy. And what's really nice about that is we give you pretty much all the pieces of the puzzle to be able to make this a winner. And what Mike is talking about when it comes to a silo page is that what he's done is he's created these pages on his site that are hyper focused on a particular industry and all the terminology related to that industry and needing a website for that industry. And because ChatGPT and other large language models will enjoy looking at long form content that is very, very specific about a specific topic. And there's not really a lot of agencies who have crafted their business around, mobile IV hydration or whatever it may be. Um, that those ChatGPT folks will find a silo page like that on Mike's site, recommend the business, recommend the agency to the person who's searching for it and be able to get some wins like that. So great job, Michael. Michael put a lot of effort into building out those silo pages. There's a ton of pages on his site. That's a really cool way to win some deals. And by the way, that's a slow burn. Okay. Mike didn't just launch these silo pages on his site yesterday. He didn't do them last week. He didn't do them last month. He's done them a long time ago and has just let them do their job. Denise is here. Hi, Denise. Thanks for joining us. Denise, I was actually just going through the fully edited version of our discussion, which you all will be able to enjoy in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Denise was nice enough to do an interview with her husband, Ron. They talked about how they are building a web design business around their plans to be 100% mobile, meaning on the road in an RV. They've got a whole vision board for it, a whole plan of attack, and they're marching toward 50 sites. Denise, by the time we put this video out, you're going to have a lot more sites, I feel, than what you reported in the video. If you want to just quickly share how many sites you've got sold. Vince is working on his first demo. That's excellent to hear. Vince, I'm glad you're here. Jeffrey says he's got one new client since last time and did his first coaching session. Cool. So for those of you who may not know this, we do have a an option for you guys to get one-on-one help through the 14-day launch plan, which is accessible from the resources section of your dashboard. And this 14-day launch plan is your playbook, your blueprint for getting your first client in, yes, as little as 14 days. So if you don't know about this, get familiar with it. And if you do know about it but haven't done anything about it yet, get on with a coach and get some help. If you would like to know how to get on with a coach, type coaching as a question, and we will send you a direct link to book your first call. Jason launched a new site yesterday and got a new commitment for an ice cream shop. Oh, our ice cream shop theme is so nice. It is so nice. George started the 14-day launch plan, did his first call with Brianna, his coach. That is awesome. Well, that was today. How nice. Christy is booking another client who has a local farm stand slash meat delivery business. How cool is that? How cool is that? And Vince is happy to report that he got past his issues with cold calling. You know, the number one reason why people don't get past their issue with cold calling? Because they never start. Just do it. Just do the work and you will get past it. Just do it and you'll get past it. Melissa is all excited that we're live. Yes, good to see you. One win. I have a new lead and built a demo for a potential client and just need to get it scheduled. Awesome. That is awesome. Well, when you get the lead, Melissa, the best practice is part of the lead getting process is to actually schedule the presentation of the website. So try and combine those if you're at all able to. Kevin says, I got several warm leads, 4, that's more than several. Still getting myself familiar with Facebook and other social media. My marketing site is now 90% done and ready. Kevin, you don't even need to wait to 90%. I want to encourage everybody here, if you have not yet launched your marketing website, just do that today. Make that the thing you do today. It does not have to be perfect. What it has to be is live. Okay? That's it. That's what it has to be. Alexis got a nice commitment this week from a Korean mobile food truck. He's excited, and so am I. He saw my ad on the neighborhood app. Cool. What neighborhood app was that? That's great to hear. Steven is asking a question. Melissa, my head is so big about this demo, I feel invincible. That's good. That's good. And see, Vince is actually making a game out of cold calling. I totally agree. Cold calling can become a game very, very quickly and very easily. I 100% agree. All right. Let's get into this. So, as I said, some of you were nice enough to submit your questions ahead of time. I'm going to attempt to go through those now and then get to everyone who's asking questions currently. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 questions that have come through prior. I'm going to go through them at a clip as fast as I can with the folks who are on here starting first. All right. So, first one is from Mike, who says, can you go over the legality behind who actually owns the website, my client or me? For instance, if they buy the domain and I connect it, do they own it versus if I buy the domain for them, do I own it, etc.? If they cancel the service, how do we part ways peacefully? I know you've gone over this in the past, but I forgot the answer. Okay. So here's the best way I can explain it. First of all, the domain name. I don't care who buys the domain name. The domain name always gets handed off to the client, no questions asked. If you want to charge them a fee to transfer the domain name to them because you bought it, it's in your account, and it's going to take you a little bit of time to initiate the transfer, 20, 25 bucks to transfer the domain is very, very reasonable and fair. The domain is theirs. You never hold that hostage, nothing like that. A typical client will come to you. So there are signs you're gonna see if a client is thinking about or considering no longer working with you. They are going to suddenly stop asking you for updates that they were accustomed to asking you on a regular basis. They will express some concerns or frustrations about something, or they'll just get super, 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 super quiet. It's best to have regular conversations with your clients every 90 days or less to just talk about what's changing in their business and making sure the site is evolving with the changes in their business. If they start missing 1 or 2 of those in a row, then I would really get on top of them to see what you can do to help them. Express to them that you're concerned that there might be some sort of issue that they're not expressing to you. Make them feel welcome and comfortable expressing anything that's on their mind. Assure them that if they are having some concerns about the website performance or about your service or whatever, that they can be honest and you're not going to be, you're not going to take it the wrong way. You're a big boy and you can handle whatever they got for you. That's the first thing. So the second thing is that when it comes to the actual website, it's highly unusual that someone is going to say, I don't like you, but I love my site. Like very few people, and I know the people who are in our SiteSwan family, very few people are the types of people who are going to rub people the wrong way and say, I love the site, but I don't want to work with you anymore. You're the problem. That's probably not going to happen. When people get ready for a new site, usually it's because they've been convinced, for better or for worse. I've seen some people who have departed a SiteSwan reseller to think that someone else knows better, and then get a site and it looks like, I don't even want to say it. Doesn't look good. Okay. I consider it a downgrade. All right. Um, but they will generally have someone else build a fresh new site for them, just the same way you built a fresh new site for the client when you took them on. If they, for some reason, want to move somewhere else and keep everything that you've done for them, you could tell them you have access and you're able to take any images, any content, anything off the site and use it on a new site you build. But there is no physical way, and this is 100% true because this is the way our platform is built, as are many other platforms. There's no physical way for me to take the site that I built for you and give it to you or transport it to you or put it somewhere else. It has to live on the SiteSwan servers. So there is no way for you to do that. But they're willing. If they're willing, you can let them take the images, take the content, take whatever you want, and wish them good luck. I have seen a statistic that something like 40% of the people who leave a SiteSwan reseller come back. And in my agency, it was like, I think it was like 60 or 70%. It's crazy. Some people make the silliest decisions when it comes to, I had this one person one time who said, I've got a new POS system, which is point of sale system. I've got a new POS system, and I am going to uh, they offered me, the POS system company offered me a free website if I switched to their POS. And that sounded like a good idea to them. So they went to this company who does, payment processing, checkout, all this stuff. And now they're going to build a website for them that's going to outperform the website we did for them. Okay. You can guess how that went. And after 3 months, they came crawling back, tail between their legs, begging to return. So a bit of a long-winded answer, but that is the answer, is that they can take the domain name, no problem. Is there a problem with the way the screens are set up? I don't need to be, let me hold on. All right, let me know if that fixes it. Um, the you can give them domain, give them the content. You don't actually have to provide them anything though. All right, good question, Mike. I hope that never happens to anybody. Look, the retention rate, by the way, guys, on websites, extremely high. Extremely high. Most people, I would bet that everyone in this room, if one of you have lost a client, I'd be shocked. The retention rate is phenomenal with small business websites. All right. Mark is saying, I appreciate you posting the information about maintaining your Google business profile. Guys, if you haven't checked out this brand new resource, here it is. Get a Google business profile set up for yourself, and you can start selling this to your clients. How do I sell it to my clients to maintain their Google business listing? I have seen competition offering Google business listing maintenance. Are they just using a service or program to perform the updates and manage the listing? Or are they manually doing it? Seems very time consuming. So a lot of the Google Business Profile optimization is a one-time thing. A lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it. If you set it up properly, the way we advise in this setup guide, you will have your client getting outstanding results. I usually recommend setting up Google Business Profile the right way is somewhere between a $200 and $500 value. Make the first three you sell around 200 bucks, and then you're going to find and measure the amount of time it takes you to do everything from, you know, what is it called? Not validating, but oh my gosh, what's that word? When you're the first step of getting the Google Business Profile authenticated. So the authentication can sometimes take a little while, and based on how long that takes you and what that process is like, you determine your price moving forward. As an ongoing basis, the big things that you can do on a Google business profile, and I'll just show you our Google business profile as an example, is you can add what's called Q&As. Where are they? They were here. Where are they? They're always changing things. There was a section for Q&As last time I checked. There are these posts. So you actually make posts on to your profile the same way you would post like on Google, on like Facebook or something like that. So you can do that. And it's really a game of just making sure that the content that appears on the listing is as accurate as possible and reflective of what's currently going on inside the business. How much can you charge on an ongoing basis for that? Depends on how much you feel like there is to say about that business to keep them top of mind. Also depends if you're going to actually go and like respond to their reviews for them and stuff like that. You might get up to the point where if you're doing enough work, you could charge 500 bucks a month for the lowest level, just like maintaining it, making sure it's staying accurate. If they tell you, "Hey, I'm going to be closed, September 23rd," you go in there, mark them closed, that kind of thing. Maybe you're getting 50 or 100 bucks a month for it, just so that you're in. They can rely on you to make sure it stays up to date. All right. Tina says, I'm struggling with cold calls and social media outreach. Any suggestions on how to get more leads through referrals? I have few clients now and only one has sent me a referral. So, not everyone's going to send you a referral. The fact that you got one out of three is actually pretty impressive. I've found that even when asked, even when prompted, even when begged, to expect more than 20% of your clients to give you a referral is a big ask. So, referrals are something that um, will generally something you'll only be able to really benefit from as you grow, because the more people you have, then of course that percentage is going to basically provide a steady stream of referrals, perhaps one or two every month. But until you get to the point where you have that 20, 30, 40, or 50 clients, you can't actively rely on referrals as a good source of new leads. Um, the best and that's the thing too, it's like how much could you really incentivize someone to share with their network of people that you're someone who can help them. And the truth is that people are inclined to give a referral strictly because of what they know about you and the relationship you built with them. So incentivizing them often doesn't make them want to do it anymore. They're already incentivized to do it because they want their peers and people they like to get the same level of high quality service that they're getting with you. So incentivizing it further is a little bit tricky. If you're struggling though with cold calling, you're struggling with social media, then I'd recommend you get on a coaching call with us because I know Tini, I think you've been around with us for a while, but um, what is the struggle with cold call? I would love to know that. What is the struggle with cold call? What's the struggle with social media? Cold calling is just a numbers game. You just got to call more people. Social media is just reach out to more people, get in more groups, and just linger and just listen to what's going on in those groups, and you're going to find opportunities. She also says, I know websites aren't exactly set it and forget it. I'm curious what type of maintenance or updating needs to be done and how often. Doesn't matter how much custom HTML is on the site. I think those two different questions, but it very much is a set it and forget it mentality that the business owner tends to have. Now, what I don't encourage you is having a set it and forget it mentality. You should be staying on top of your clients, as I said, every 90 days. If you have conversations with your clients 4 times a year, you will make them feel like they're the most loved person and that you're the best web designer they've ever had and ever will have, because that's a lot of outreach for what is typical in the web design world. And she also asked, what is the best way to post badges or certificates? For example, a dentist who wants to post the badges for organizations they're members of, like the American Dental Association. I tried using the photo gallery, making them as small as possible, but they still show up like a regular sized photo on the mobile site. So we have this really cool thing that let me just walk you through this cool feature. And if I had some logos, I'd put them on for you, but I don't. So one of the nice things about, hope I'm not forgetting exactly how this works. So in our slideshow feature, okay, what you can do in the style section is you can have up to 5 images rotating at a time. Okay. And you can have it on the slider, you can have it fading from one to the next. So the cool thing about the cool thing about having multiple images on a slideshow like this is that it affords you, if these were logos with white space around them, this would very much look really, really nice. Okay. I think we have an example. Are we using this on our website? Last time I checked, I think we are, but I got to find it. We're using it somewhere on our site and I'm forgetting where. But I think it might be on one of our pages. I don't know. I'll find it and send you. But basically, I want you to use your imagination real quick and pretend that this is a logo about this size and it's all white space around it. Okay. You can do a really good job of having the ADA badge and whatever else featured here, and it's going to look really, really good. So yes, the gallery is an option for you, but the other option is to do slideshow and you just hack it to show 5 images at a time, and then it can look really, really cool. All right. So that is my suggestion for that. Um, let's move on to digital Skylark. Do we have a CRM system? Is it for personal use only, like managing our client, or can we offer it to customers for them to use it for a fee? So you don't have a CRM, but you do have a CRM tool. It's a spreadsheet that we give you that you can customize and use for your needs. The CRM tool is right here. You're going to click visit link. And once you get to this link, you are going to, of course, fight with Google. So you get the proper email address that you are going to use. Screw that. I'm going to go somewhere else and get it. Oh, too many Google email addresses. Can't keep track. Give me a second. I'll find it for you. All right, this is what it looks like when you click that link. And then what you're going to do is follow the instructions in yellow. You're going to go file, make a copy. And once you make a copy, this is now your document. You can edit 100%. So people will ask me, what CRM do you recommend? Which CRM should I get? My question is always, answer is always the same. Start with a spreadsheet and grow out of it. Start with a spreadsheet and see. Find yourself saying to yourself, man, I wish I could just do this with my CRM. Once you get enough of those situations where you're like, I wish I could just do this, then you make an investment in a CRM. Do not think everyone needs to start out with a CRM when you got 40 leads. Okay. I have a working spreadsheet that functions as a CRM with 20,000 leads on it. You don't need a CRM unless you really need one. Okay. That's my answer there. And no, we don't have anything that you can give to your client to use as a CRM. By the way, you say the word CRM to a small business owner and watch the eyes roll to the back of their head like, what? CRM. So don't you worry. All right, next up is Anne. Will we be able to add a chatbot to the website? Not only will you, but you can right now. So from the resources section of your dashboard, we have a couple of different chat widgets that we recommend. One is called Chatbot, one is called Live Chat, one's called Fresh Chat. Lots of chat. So what you would do is visit this link, sign up for an account. Some are free, some are not. It's going to give you a little snippet of code. All right. That code is going to be something you are going to put on your site. Where you're going to put it on the site. From the settings screen drop down of your page when you're editing it, go to HTML code, and I will bet my cup of coffee, my afternoon cup of coffee I have not yet had, which is a problem. You are going to find the body HTML code bottom footer. This is generally where they're going to tell you to insert the code for the chat widget, and that will then appear on the bottom of your site. So some of these have AI answers built in where you can educate it on how to answer. Some are just designed to collect leads. Explore the options that you see in the dashboard and then choose one you think fits the needs of your business the best. Boris says, I'd like to know how and if you are going to be able to fix the ADA compliance issues. Yeah, Boris was nice enough to bring up some automated tests regarding ADA, which is the American Disability Act, I think, or American Disability Association. Forgive me, I don't know exactly what that stands for, but it's basically a set of guidelines to ensure that the websites that you're building are optimized for people with visual disabilities. And there's like literally an endless number of things you can do to optimize it. And there is also a lot of gray area about what makes a site fully optimized and what isn't. There's no official way to actually say that a site is compliant. Some people bring this up because they've heard horror stories about attorneys just going around and finding businesses that have sites that were built a long, long, long time ago, and they have no functionality that is helpful to people with visual disabilities, and then they will attempt to slap them with a lawsuit. Those are generally in the situation where, again, they're older sites, they're people who have not put any effort into even thinking about what makes sense for someone who's got some visual impairment issues. So, generally, what people will do is they will add an accessibility widget to the site, which is going to show that they are someone who is willing and trying to make their site better for people with disabilities. Here's an option right here called Accessibility. Just visit this link and you'll be able to get an account set up with them. And then there's also a ton of things that we're doing behind the scenes that are designed to maximize the compatibility with ADA requirements. So worry not, Boris. We're on the cutting edge of what compliance for ADA looks like, and we're always improving the platform to ensure that. We can't guarantee that every site will be ADA compliant because a lot of things depend on how you're adding content to the site. I'll give you one example. So when you're adding an image to the site, okay, let's see if I could show you. All right, this image, for example, right here, okay? Every image should, according to ADA, have what's called an alt tag, which is going to be text that describes what this image is for people who have screen readers. A screen reader is something that will describe what the website looks to someone with visual impairment. So, one of the things that is technically a requirement is that you have alt text for the images that appear on the site. So the way in which you would actually facilitate the alt text is you would go to the zoom in function on any of the images in your library and you would simply fill in the alt tag right here. Now, we have alt tags filled in for a lot of the images on our themes, but when you're adding content yourself to sites and you're adding your own images, it would be wise to take another extra minute or two just to be completely thorough and write a brief alt tag, which is just describing what is or might be happening in this image. Now, I always had a beef with this because I'm like, you know, the saying, a picture's worth a thousand words. Like, how do you expect me to describe an image in text in a way that's going to help someone who's got visual um, restrictions understand what's happening in this image? Like, how does that really help them? And like, I mean, seriously, with AI these days, can we have AI describe this images? But as long as you put something that is going to give someone a sense of what this image's purpose is and what it's designed to do, if you said exactly what we have, real estate appraisal completion by first line appraisal, showing someone completing an appraisal, they're shaking hands. You could also have something like professional individuals shaking hands at the closing of an appraisal transaction, home appraisal transaction, something like that would be totally suitable. On to Eric Smith's question. I'm still working through the email thing with a client, and he says I can sign them up for a domain with the domain registrar, but how do I handle their email as I set it up through the same provider? But I own the domain name. For example, how do I make them responsible for their email when I own the domain? Yeah. So I would recommend don't get the email through the same provider. That is one way that you can avoid having to deal with you paying for the email address because it's your domain name account. So a suggestion I would have is to check out Google Workspace, and we're about to add this as a resource as well into our dashboard. Give it a day or so, and you're going to see Google Workspace listed here. And what it is basically it's Gmail that powers an email address on any domain name. So it costs, I think, around $7 per email address per month. They are going to set up that account. You can help them like do like the settings. I would charge, by the way, about $200 for that as well. So it's going to be like, oh, add this DNS record, blah, 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 like simple stuff. But it, if they do it completely on their own, they may not have full success in a timely fashion. But ultimately, they'll be paying Google Workspace for their email addresses. They'll be able to manage it. And the nice thing about that too is like, because there's going to be a day where they're like, hey, you know how we got 3 email addresses originally, and now we only need 2. So can you delete that other one for us? Like, whoa, 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 whoa! I'm not your email guy. Call Google Workspace or log in. You can take care of it yourself, and then you don't have to worry about it. Because as I said in a video that I posted on YouTube, don't, if you possibly can, offer email addresses to your clients. Here it is, why web designers should never offer email addresses with their websites. Avoid it at all costs, but if you have to do it, make them pay for it. Make them create the relationship with the email service provider. Alrighty. Sharon says, I want to embed a form that captures information for a conference. I need the attendees' information and I need them to pay for it. What program do you suggest? I'll tell you right now. Go into the resources section of your dashboard. So, what you're describing is a very light version of e commerce. So, I would normally recommend Cognito Forms, or I'd recommend a different one, but I want to recommend just Cognito Forms. Okay. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to come here to the resources section of your dashboard, click this link, go to Cognito Forms. Cognito Forms allows you to be able to create any kind of form you want. You can have star rating, you can upload a file to it, you can do drop downs, radio buttons, multiple selection, you could have a million different things on the form. And one of the cool things you can have on the form is a payment option. So they could even select like, oh, I want is a payment for one person or a payment for 2 people. And if you select 2, you can have another bunch of fields pop up for the second person's information, the second attendee. Really cool advanced stuff, and it's pretty easy to use. So that would be my suggestion. Come here, click visit this link for Cognito, and you are all set. Takes you right to the screen that shows you the plans and all that stuff. All right. Alexis says, I have a client that doesn't want his credit card on file and prefer he be billed monthly. While the While this isn't my preferred way, is there a way to accommodate his request by setting up the process to auto-generate a monthly invoice? Ay, ay, ay. Did you remind him it's 2025? Did you mention that to him? So there is no way to do that. This is if he wants his website to always be live, he's going to need to trust you to only charge the credit card for what you said you'd charge it for. The only other alternative I could think of is if you want to bill him yearly, and maybe you should prompt him for that, and don't give a discount either. Have him pay yearly, and then you only have to worry about this once a year. You technically could delete the card on file if you really had to, but um, or just collect a check from him for the year. I don't know. Some people are really funny. Jason says, I just launched a site yesterday. The business didn't have the password to their old site, so we got them a new domain name. Smart thinking. Any idea how long it would take to appear in the Google search? And will the old site cause issues? So, Jason, it could technically cause issues. I I'm a little concerned that you stopped when you just didn't have their password, because did you try to do a password reset? First of all, I would recommend that you're looking in the right spot for their domain name. So, Jason, what you'll want to do is you'll want to find, and I often like going to this site called whois.com. You're going to go up to the top box up here, not this box, the top box. And you're going to type in the domain name, and it's going to tell you the company that the domain is registered with. So, whether it's Cheap and Easy Domains or GoDaddy or whatever. And then you at least know you're trying to log into the right place. If you can't, if you don't know the password, if you don't know the email address associated with the account, your client doesn't know it, call them and be like, hey, I got a domain name with you guys. I know I have it with you. I don't know what email address is associated with the account. How can I prove that I am the owner of this domain name so that I can make changes, gain access to it, and make some changes. Um, it's it's so unusual and rare for someone to completely lose access to a domain name for their business. It's highly, highly unusual. Highly unusual? Extremely unusual. But I think you did the right thing because you need to get the site launched. So you got that done. Now, can it affect Google search? I mean, chances are the new site's going to blow the old site out of the water. So it'll almost kind of like go to the wayside automatically. But it would be nice to have everything consolidated and not have two, a good representation of the business and a bad representation of the business online. So I would recommend plugging away at that and see what you can do to get access to it. Sydney says, when will you add store templates, please? So many people want to be able to sell things on their website, which could really help me to be able to sell them on my services. I don't see many templates for it. So I'll tell you this, Sydney, Cindy, the biggest problem with e-commerce is you will never stop servicing that one client. I don't know how else to say it. When you get into e-commerce, it is a non-stop customer relationship thing, because if their entire business is making money from the thing they're selling online, they're not going to stop thinking about it, and they're not going to stop bugging you about it, and not going to stop making changes. The only situation that I recommend taking on a client who's got e-commerce is if they have one or two products, like barely any products, or if the products are complementary to the actual business. What's an example of that? A gym that wants to sell T-shirts with the logo on it. A restaurant that's got jars of hot sauce that they want to sell. Okay, those are good examples for sites that have a primary purpose, which is to get people into their place of business. And then, oh, by the way, let's try and sell stuff also from the site. But if a site is purely to sell stuff online, run. You really want to be an e-commerce pro, like a real hardcore pro, to be able to take on those clients. Um, I don't recommend it, and I don't see a future where we have e-commerce centric solutions, because I can tell you from personal experience, I'm sure a lot of other people will say the same thing. It is such a nightmare. And also, the retention isn't great on e-commerce people, because they'll start to blame you when they're not making sales. It's so weird. It's so weird. I'm getting some updates from you guys. Jason says, I did call the company that I got from Who Is. Their father, who passed away, used to handle it. That's okay, Jason. A death certificate will actually fly with these companies. So you can provide that death certificate to the registrar and say, hey, this is the reason why I don't have access to this domain name. He passed away. The business is still ours. Can you help us gain access to it? Because we currently can't update anything about our business online. So there's always a way. There's always a way. All right. Alexis also said she'll try the annual billing. Denise also said this. Oh, here's one. So, Alexis, I have a solution for you potentially. Denise says she has a customer, same issue. They set up a monthly Zelle payment for every 6 months. Wait, a monthly Zelle payment for 6 months. Okay, so for 6 months at a time, they're going to Zelle you automatically for the site. Okay, cool. That's good. Denise also asked if they could, if you can sell the chatbot option as an upsell, and 100%. I would recommend taking a look at the options that we feature on the resources page. Find one that you like. Elf site also has one, I'm being told. I think I knew that. So resources, scroll down. Elf site, which has a bunch of different widgets. It's right over here. Visit this link. It'll take you to all their widgets. You can find one that works. And then I would mark it up 50 to 100%. If it's a $25 thing, make it 50 to the client. If it's a $50 thing, make it 75 or 100. Okie dokies. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? Oh my gosh, Denise. Well, guys, I know I talked about Facebook a little while, right? Denise, when we recorded our interview, was a member of 210 Facebook groups. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, wow. She's now at 266. There is a method to her madness. Denise, how many sites do you have now? Let's see if she told us. She didn't tell us. I'll have to check your account. It works, guys. Hanging out on Facebook works. Jason, to answer your question about keeping the domain name or switching back to the old one, um, it depends how long it's going to take for you to get the old domain name. The search engines generally favor domain names that have been around longer. But if the name of the business is like, whatever, like Allen's Tree Trimming, okay? And their old domain name is Allen's tree trimming online.com, and you got Allen's tree trimming.com, go with yours. But if they're about the same in terms of quality and theirs has been around a lot longer, whatever point you finally do get access to that, you're going to use that domain name. Then you can do something called domain forwarding, and you can take the new domain name and forward it to the old one. Kevin's also mentioning that he has customers pay with Venmo when they're a little shy about giving their credit card and keeping it on file. Mark is also letting everyone know that when he signs up a client for a yearly, he will give 1 month free on that. Mike is asking, would you say that selling websites to funeral homes is just as, if not harder, to manage than e-commerce, since the business will need the obituary updated each week? Or I'm assuming we could teach them how to use the platform and do it themselves. Yeah, Mike, I would teach them how to do it themselves. That's easy enough. They're already doing that somewhere, somehow, currently. And sometimes you can get an RSS feed and pull that in, depending on where they're posting it, like on legacy.com or something like that. So I would definitely have that conversation. All right, more questions you guys asked. Let me go to oh my God, a lot of questions. Steven says, do you have a training for SEO? And does the SEO tool work that SiteSwan has? Does it embed those search words in the site somewhere? I don't know what you mean by that. So, Steven, with the way the search engine submission tool works is that if you go to search engine submission, you can choose a site in your account, select it, and then sign up for either monthly or one-time submission. And we'll tell the search engines this site exists and point them to all the pages on the site and basically asks them very nicely to come visit the site on a regular basis. That is just one part of the overall SEO game that you can play. I would highly recommend, if you haven't already, take a look at our SEO checklist, which is right over. One day we're going to have a keyword search for this right here. SEO checklist. This is a great document to go through to make sure that you've set up your site for success for local search results. Should we do a training on this? Perhaps. We've done one that is recorded. Let me find it for you. Dun, 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 dun. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Check this one out. The basics of local SEO. Understanding the basics of local SEO. It's a good one. That might be helpful to you. Christy says, what's your best recommendation for a client who wants an update to add a sticky or floating get a free quote button that follows as people scroll? Boy, you're not, in other words, asking, how do I annoy people who come to my client's site? How do I do that? Um, so what I have seen on Elf site, is they have something where it's a button or some. It's like what do they call it? It's like a bar that will stay locked at the top or the bottom or the side or wherever, no matter what people will do in terms of scrolling, and then you can have a get free quote thing. I don't love it, because ultimately, if you have well-written content, a nicely formatted site, you're having multiple get a free quote buttons in all the logical places right after people are reading the information that makes most sense to them. So I'm a little a little torn on that. Now, though, I will also say that with our sticky header option, if you guys don't know about this, I love that for those of you who are brand new, you're like, it's always been there. Yeah, it hasn't been. If you go to design, header, you go to style, you can turn on sticky header and you can make one of your navigation items get a free quote. And at least it'll always be visible as you scroll on desktop. So that's something to consider. Let's see. Stephen also asks, is there a way on the contact form we can put an SMS disclaimer that allows you to message them via SMS, like a little checkbox? No, we don't have that. I feel like it's something that we are working toward doing, but for that, you would still need to go to a third party form creator like Cognito Forms, accessible from the resources section of our dashboard. Alexa says, one of my site's invoices was past due by 6 days. I generated a one-time payment invoice and he has paid it. However, it's still showing as past due. So I'm not sure why you created a one-time payment invoice. That's not necessary. You've actually just had them pay something totally different and not the subscription. So what I would do, I would refund the one-time payment and then go back to, so, all right, let's just go over this together. My guess is that you did this all within, wait, so, okay, so, all right. I'm going to guess at what Alexa's telling me what happened. Okay. She's got a client who's past due. So imagine this says past due. Okay. It's past due 6 days. So she said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a one-time fee for the amount that's past due, process the payment, bingo. When in reality, all you had to do was go to view past invoices, and then you'll see that if there's anyone who's past due, you can actually retry the card right now. So what I would probably do is this. I would probably, so if these were not successful, there would be, let me see if I can find one. There'd be an option that says retry card. Any of these not successful I could show you? I don't think so. Of course not. On the client billing section of support, I believe we have an option on this to show you what it looks like. Here we go. How to retry a past due payment from client billing. So you're going to go click on the status, view past invoices, and then click retry. So to fix this problem, Alexis, I would do this first. Go to the view past invoices, click retry. Now keep in mind, Alexis, I'm not sure if you know this, but Stripe, the payment processor, is going to try the card multiple times over a fixed number of days on days that their system tells they're most likely to get the payment processed successfully. Okay. So you didn't have to jump to conclusions of doing that. You could have just waited. It probably would have went through. Go back, press retry, process the card, then go into Stripe directly and manually refund the $50 they paid for the one-time payment. And then you'll be all good. Vince says, I have design questions regarding number one, brand colors and what they relate to. Number two, overlays. Number three, font guidelines. Okay, let's talk about this. So if I go to any of our theme sites, it's always the best place to start, Vince. If you go to any of our theme sites, they're all built with brand colors. And what this essentially means is that with one click, if I wanted to change this client site with the primary color of orange to something else, because usually it's because their logo and their brand has a different color. So let's just say I got a real estate appraisal company. Their colors are blue. So I would go find blue as a brand color, match it as closely to whatever the blue that's in their logo, click save, and now we have changed the entire site, all the orange elements to blue. Every single page of the site, every element that was orange is now blue. There is a second brand color on this particular site. Not buttons, Justin. Colors. There's a second brand color that is, well, I probably modified this site. I think this theme only comes with one brand color, but some of them come with multiple. And if they do, you can modify the other brand color to be a complementary color. So now with just a couple of clicks, you can change all the colors in the entire site. If that doesn't make sense to you and you have further questions about brand colors, please tell me. The second thing is overlays. So when we talk about overlays, it's usually so that we can properly have text appear with minimal contrast issue. So I'll give you a perfect example. This is an image that if I remove the overlay on, and if I dial my percentage down to 0, you're going to see that even though it's white text and there's no real white in this image, this text is extremely hard to read. And this is a problem for our eyeballs. This is a problem that is going to affect the legibility of this site. So we use overlay colors that are of high contrast to our text color to mute the the um the colors that are most offensive in terms of the contrast issue. So overlays can be applied in a number of different areas. The one area we find it the most is going to be on hero images or really any section that's got a background image. Even this section, I'm not sure if you see these lines going through, but this actually has a background image. And if I dial down the opacity of the overlay, you'll see that there's actually a lot more to this image than what you can normally see. But because we overlay this very light color gray on it, we soften up these lines and make it very subtle, almost like a pattern in the background instead. So overlays can be a really cool thing to apply to design elements to make things pop. And the third is font guidelines. Do we have such a thing as font themes, like paint themes in a paint store? We don't. Here's the general rule when it comes to fonts. When you are selecting your fonts, you want to make sure that your paragraph font is something that's extremely easy to read. Extremely easy. Oftentimes, it's going to be one of a few different fonts that you see on this list. The most popular fonts that people use for paragraph are going to be things like, let me find the most popular ones for you right now. Do, 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 do. There's not many. Lotto is one that's very, very popular, super easy to read. The other one is I've seen people use Livic with a good success. Um, um, I think Noto Sans is a good one. Open Sans is a great one. And the one it's currently set to, which is Roboto or Roboto, I'm yet to understand how that's supposed to be pronounced, is also a good one. If you want to tighten it up a little bit, you could do Roboto Condensed. And those would pretty much be my go-to options. Maybe Source Sans Pro. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, those are my go-tos. Now, those also have what we call sans serif. The difference between sans serif and serif is this. See how on these letters you have these little things? They're called serifs, okay? They're just there to stylize and add a little drama to the letters. So what'll usually happen is that you will choose a title text that has serifs and then a supporting text or paragraph text that doesn't, just because you want some visual separation between the two. But you do want them to jive. So what I wouldn't do is suggest having super crazy fonts um, that are competing with each other. I'll see that sometimes where they're like, all right, I want my title font to be script, and then I want my paragraph font to be a different script. Don't do that. That's going to be a terrible experience for people. You want to have stuff that looks right, complementary. I'll say this. If you look at the hero image where you have a title text and supporting text and a button text, and you think it kind of in your head aligns with what the brand's got going on, you're good. In this scenario, I could actually take whatever font is in the logo and find something similar to it as my title text, and then find something appropriate for my paragraph text. Um, it's hard to mess up a site with fonts. It really is. So I don't think you have to worry about font guidelines. And if you're hesitant about what's going to look good and what's not, just go basic. Just do the stuff that's the easiest to read. Don't overthink it. Let the client object to it. Okay, which they won't. All right. Alexis is a question about Google business profiles. If your client has a Google profile tied to their old business name, when reviews are given on his new site, it's getting posted to the old site under his Google profile. So I'm not, what if if your client has a Google profile tied to his old business name, and they also have a new Google business profile? First things first, it's not good to have two Google business profiles out in the wild. So get a hold of the old one, claim ownership of it if they haven't already, gain access to it if somebody else has it, and put in for a renaming of the Google business profile. That's the best way to do it. Jeffrey says, can you do a feed for realtor websites with house listings? Yes. Usually it's going to require access to the client's MLS. MLS is short for multiple listing service. Multiple listing service is something that exists in pretty much every single market in the United States. And every realtor has access to MLS, and every realtor can actually get a feed of their listings that can be embedded into their site. So it requires a little bit of copy and pasting of some code. It is doable. I don't see it all the time, but if you need help with that, just first get a hold of their MLS and see if you can get the code. And if you have trouble getting the code in, let us know. Also, Mike asks, is there anything wrong with my client getting a .net if the .com that they want is already taken? Nothing wrong with that at all. You definitely could go for .net if .com is not available. I will say, if there is a pretty good option that isn't their first option for .com, get that instead. You can still have them buy the .net and then just forward to the .com so they have it. But I would prefer that it's a .com. That'd be an ideal scenario. All right. What else you got for me? Mm-mm-mm. To my moderators, can we just make sure everyone gets a reply, please, to what they're asking so they know if you've put it on the agenda for me to answer or if you feel like it's been answered already. Just please just answer everybody so everyone can be heard. Okay, let's see. Okay, Vince says, all right, let's talk about this. Vince says, for me, what I find troubling about these calls is that the details covered are so overwhelming for new people like me. It probably doesn't help too much that I am a septuagenarian. I would love to have classes for newbies that are not so free for all. Well, Vince, the good news is that we record all these. And what that means is that you can go in and get access to all of our previous recordings and pick and choose the elements that mean the most to you. It's a little hard for us to know exactly what people who quote unquote newbies are going to need most because everyone learns at a different pace. What I would recommend doing is if you haven't yet, I think you have, but if you haven't yet, go through the training videos because the training videos will give you the vast majority of what you need to know to be able to sell your first 20 something sites. If you've already gone through them, go through them again. Take some notes because if you walk away with only the knowledge from these training videos, you'll be very well equipped to be able to sell sites extremely effectively. The recordings are currently all on our YouTube. You're going to notice they look different than the other ones. So here we go, live coaching session, live coaching session, live coaching session. They are here. I just don't have all of them, but a lot of them are here. Okay. At one point, I think we should put them in our dashboard and have a separate area for them. But what else? What else? I would like to quickly, before we wrap up, I'd like you all to just write a quick note as a question and let me know what is something that you found to be helpful, something you might have learned in this, something you might have heard asked, something about this session that you're able to kind of take away with you back to running your web design business. Maybe it's a piece of motivation, someone else's success, anything. Give that to me as a question. I'm going to read off a few of them without saying people's last names so that you will understand what resonates with you guys. And also, I'm taking notes on this, myself and my moderators included, to make sure that we continue to give you guys the best in what you're looking to learn from us. So, what do you got? What is one key takeaway? Melissa appreciates learning how to do photo scrolling side to side. Jeffrey says not to do e-commerce sites. Yep. George appreciates the ADA functionalities. Didn't know too much about that. Um, who else? Come on, there's 29 of you still here. Let's go. Let's go. I've heard 3 so far, and I want one takeaway. I want 6 more takeaways at minimum. What did you find helpful? All right, Alexis, here we go. Now they're coming in. Alexis appreciates learning how to best optimize SEO. Melissa says to not offer a business email for website clients. Kevin appreciates the knowledge about Mike's silo pages. Yeah, Mike, maybe we should do a session on that if you're willing to give away some of your knowledge on how to make that work. As soon as you get some more success, you might be willing to share the love. Mike's looking forward to seeing how ADA is implemented into sites in the future. Yeah, if you run any of your tests through like an ADA checker, you will see that there are a a lot of things that you will get 100% on just for having your site on SiteSwan. And there'll be some things that you'll maybe want to go and do to optimize it further. And there might be a couple of things that you can't do anything about it, but kind of sort of neither can we, just because it's an automated test. It's either misreading the site or it's just like an extreme thing. The most important thing is that they see that you're making an effort. You don't have to be perfect. You're making a concentrated effort. And that's what we're all here to do. We want as many people to come to our sites and be able to use our sites as possible. We're not trying to get people, make it harder for people. And that's the big thing. Steven says, I'm glad I got the answers I needed to know about using SEO. Sean agrees, staying away from email. Jackie was delighted that she can offer a chatbot. Michael's on board for the silo pages. Nice, man. And Steven got the SMS answer. Don't currently offer at SiteSwap, maybe in the future. Yes, precisely. All right, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Well, you guys have been awesome once again. We're going to do another one of these. I'll tell you right now when we're going to do it. On September 26th. As of right now, it's Friday, September 26th, exactly 2 weeks from today. Hopefully, we'll see all of you and a lot more people there. In the meantime, if you need something, reach out to support.siteswan.com or from your dashboard up here, support, click it. Find what you need in our support articles. Submit a request if you can't. Thank you all so much for doing this with me today. Please remember, this is a Friday. The weekend's coming up. This is not a time to relax, kick back, and take it easy. You guys want to make more money for yourselves. You want to find success. Bring in that recurring income. Go out there this weekend, talk to people, see if you can book a couple demos, close the deal if you're working on one. Let's make it happen. Love you all. See you later. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.